we talked about this last week actually. This is the start of a very busy schedule, isn't it? Really perfect way to start against a tricky opponent at the weekend. But your analysis after watching back over the game, what are your thoughts after that victory over Reading?
That it was one of the better ones in many aspects. We know that we are an attacking team, and especially at home, it's very difficult for opponents to handle us. And when we've done well, a lot of teams coming to Ewood Park and do everything they can to bank up and defend well. Of course, I understand that perfectly. It makes it much more difficult for us. And we, I don't know if we've been struggling, but we just have a little bit more difficult to find our way of doing that more consistently. So the win against Reading was really good in many aspects, because I think we made it difficult for Reading, even first half, where we thought we didn't create that many chances, but just got more and more tired. And second half we stepped up a level in terms of intensity and quality on the ball. And I think when we play with that attitude, we're humble, but we play with big confidence and put that intensity into the game in terms of in the pressure. Keep them locked in terms of the counter pressing, producing much more crosses and much more combination on the side to get in behind them, which we've been working on a lot. It was actually a matter of time, and you can see that just before the goal, we just kept them in there for 3-4 minutes, and we ended with a superb cross for Ollie from Matthias, and we actually are 4 against 3 at the back post. So and after that, I think we do what we want to do. We attack, and want to have the second goal to kill the game off. And we went for that, and I actually think we had 3 or 4 good chances, opportunities, and we should have killed the game. But in the end, we know everything can happen, and I think that was another statement of our defensive mentality and the defensive mindset of love to defend as a team.
Yeah. So 2 points from that. Firstly, from a defensive point of view, I think it's almost, not quite, but it's almost half as many goals conceded at this stage this season from last season after 17 games. Yeah. What's been the secret of that? Is it personnel? Is it been the way that you've been able to shape the team this year? Is it a combination of factors?
I think it's 3 things. I think one, we started to work on very, very heavily last year in our bad spell, the defensive mentality, or the attitude to defend. And that is a work in progress. And that, I think, actually got better and better going through last season. And we just took a step up on that, the attitude to defend with everything. So that's one thing, attitude, mentality. Second thing, organization in terms of how we want to organize the team. Not only the back 4, back 3, or back 5, depending on how we are, what kind of formation we've been playing. Because I think it hasn't changed if it's been 3 or 4 or 5. So the organization with that, the midfielders and the strikers. So we just very, very aware of how we want to defend as a unit, and you can see that throughout the game. And then in that middle pressure block, be very good at getting people behind the ball and be ready, and everybody knows their job. That's the second thing. So the organization is the second thing, and the third thing, also you need some good players. So Pontus Jansson has been absolutely crucial to that. I think David Ryan is part of the organization, and he had a magnificent save in a crucial time in the game. And not only that, his willingness to defend high. He's been working very hard on that together with our the goalkeeper coach Iñaki. And I think there's a transition in the first half where he have a high position, so just clear that situation. And then I would say Christian Nørgaard also in the midfield as 6. So they've been the most important things. And then players to step in. The rest been here last year. And then, of course, I need to mention Ethan Pinnock. We brought him in this season. He did well actually in the beginning, but for various reasons we changed to a back 4. And then he's been out of the team. Now he stepped in and did fantastic as well. So personal with the players I mentioned. The organisation and the attitude mentality.
When it comes to personnel, and you have to deal with someone who obviously wants to play games. All footballers want to play. Training is great, although maybe not in weather like this.
Oh, still great.
How important is it to have a relationship with players that you can have that honesty and openness to say you're not playing because of this, but to keep them on side, because obviously there will be opportunities. That sort of personnel management part of coaching is quite a difficult thing to get right.
It is. I think it's very difficult, and it's. I do my very best to every single day to get it right. But of course, sometimes I don't get it right. I think because you're dealing with people and need to hit them at the right time and say the right things, and also you need to disappoint them sometimes, because not only when they're not playing, but also if you're telling the truth what I think and they don't like that. I think that's very important, that you need to be honest, and you need to treat them with respect. But mostly that you use time on them and talk with them, not only about football. I think that's a key, and actually remember. And that it's not only me, it's also my staff that need to remember to speak to them every single day about other stuff than football, because I think that's crucial. That will make it more easy for them to accept that they're not playing.
So goals conceded stat is one that's impressive. Away from home, a victory at Blackburn would mean, if we discount the Bolton win that was a win but wasn't a win if you see what I mean, at the end of last season, it would be 3 times as many away wins this season already as the whole of last season. Actually on the pitch with a victory there. You mentioned how people make it difficult at home because they know the way that Brentford want to play. Is it therefore a little bit easier away from home because there's an onus on the home team to give you that space to play?
That's definitely a part of it. We would like to have the mindset of the offensive mindset that no matter where we're playing, at Griffin Park or anywhere, we like to attack and go forward and control and dominate the game. But we respect and we need to understand there's an opponent who also wants to get their foot in the game and they want to do it their way. But you're absolutely right. At home, teams normally want to attack, and that gives us just slightly more space sometimes to run into and to attack. And I think we found the 3 areas we talked about before in terms of defending, the mentality, organisation, and getting the right players in the right positions. We found that perfect mixture playing away from home, and I think we've been really, really good. And understand that we need to defend very well in spells. And if we do that, that will create opportunities going forward, especially transition. So I think we do that quite well. We need to keep it up.
Yeah, because Blackburn have ammunition, don't they? They do have, Bradley Dack has scored goals now consistently over the years. They do have the capability of making it difficult. Yeah,
they have, and I think Tony Mowbray and his staff and the players done very well the last couple of years, building Blackburn to be great again. And I think this season they started to dominate games slightly more. They want to get more on the ball, and they have some crucial players, you say, as Dack. So I expect us to go up there, and we want normally to dominate away from home as well. But I actually expect it to be quite a 50-50 game on the ball. Right. So again, we need to show that mentality of going up there to defend well, and then take our moments in the game when we can.
And are you looking at the league table at all at the moment?
No, not at all. I'll look at it in the end of May. Now it's about training tomorrow, and then big focus on the massive game. Next game is always the massive game.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? They come thick and fast, but you can't. I suppose you just have to focus on what's up next. Do the games when they come Saturday midweek, does that make it more difficult because you have less time to prepare?
Honestly, I think it does. I as a coach that want to control every little detail, train it, talk, reflect and share video. So of course it does, but we find a way so it's not too much information, not too little, not too hard trainings. So that's the balance we try to find. When we are standing there, and the players, they by far just love to go out there and play. So, and I think the fans, and when we're out there, we love to be part of it as well. We love to play the games, but I always prefer to have a week if possible. But that's the way it is. We love to play the games, and we will deal with that. And the final part to that is that the only thing, or the flip side to the thing of play the games quick is that we need to only focus on one game at a time. Is that we need to think a little bit ahead sometimes and turn us maybe a little bit freshness. How's the squad? That's the only balance, because I can only focus on the Blackburn game, but I also need to think just a little bit ahead in terms of looking at it.
Yeah, as finally in regards to that, the squad, any news, any doubts, any concerns from the weekend?
No, everybody should be ready, and it's good to get Christian Urquhart back in the squad as well, so should be good.
Brilliant.